Linear attributes from a table using Desmos. All right, so if you're told that you have a table with a linear relationship, we can come up with the equation that matches this table of values. Its slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept. Now we're going to write our equation in y equals mx plus b form. So in this problem right here, the m, or the number attached to our x variable, is always going to be our slope. Sometimes it's referred to, especially in a word problem, as rate of change. So you need to remember that vocabulary. And then the b value is always our y-intercept, or where our graph crosses the y-axis. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this table of values into Desmos. It's important to keep in mind these are our x values and these are our y values. So -2, 1, 7, and 10. Those are the x values that we're plugging into Desmos. So the first thing that we're going to do, forgot to clear that out. If you're in the Desmos graphing calculator, just click this plus sign right here and choose table. So we're going to go ahead and enter those numeric values. -2, what were the rest of them? 1, 7, and 10. 1, 7, 10. And then we're going to go ahead and enter our corresponding y values. And the y values that go with them are 10, 5, -5, -10. Okay? 10, 5, -5, and -10. So we've got these values here, and over in the blue margin, right next to the number 1, we have 4 dots and a line going through it, and that's going to give us our linear regression. So if we click that little symbol right there, we can see that we were given a linear regression, and our equation is y equals -1.66667x plus, and then another 6 with a bunch of 6's. So this is Desmos' way of saying, hey, this is a non-terminating decimal, and they're just going to round, okay? So this is just a bunch of 6's after the number -1. So what we're going to do is take that answer and turn it into a reduced fraction. So if I just go one line underneath in line 2, and I start typing -1.6, you'll see a little, in the blue margin again, like a little fraction symbol. And if I type a couple of 6's, it's still there, but eventually it goes away after I type too many 6's. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, and then eventually the fraction comes back up. And that's Desmos' way of saying, hey, you're trying to tell me that this is a non-terminating decimal, a decimal that never stops. Okay, so we've entered those values in, and I click this little fraction symbol, and it gives me a -5/3. So I know the number attached to the x, that m value, is a -5/3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. I know my equation is y equals, and I know my m value is a -5/3. And then, of course, in my equation, we always multiply our slope by x. And then we need to figure out our b value, or our y-intercept. So when I go back and I see plus 6.66666 repeating, we need to go ahead and turn that into a fraction also. So 6.6, and again, I'm just going to add in a bunch of 6's until the fraction symbol disappears, and then it's going to pop right back up for us. And then when I click that fraction symbol, it gives me 20/3. So our y-intercept is a positive, so plus 20/3. Now, of course, you can put these decimal values into this equation if you want to and just round them to the nearest 10th or the nearest 100th. Either way is fine. But again, in this equation, the number attached to the x variable is always our slope. So our slope is m equals a -5/3. And then the y-intercept is our b value, which is a positive 20/3. Now, a y-intercept is where our graph crosses the y-axis. So let's see what that looks like on the graph. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit and then look right here at my graph. Let me just close this over a little bit. So the cool thing about the Desmos calculator is you can go ahead and tap what looks to be like the x-intercept and it will show up for you. Now, anytime you have a y-intercept, the x value is going to be 0. So this is 0, 6.66667, right? So we're going to go ahead and write that as an ordered pair. So our y-intercept as an ordered pair, remember the x value is 0, and the y value, we'll go ahead and round it to 6.67. Remember, this fraction and this number are equivalent to one another. Just one is a rounded decimal, and one of them is an improper fraction. So we can also find the x-intercept in the exact same way. So I'll go back to my graph. And the x-intercept is the point where my graph crosses the x-axis. So if I tap as close as I can to where I think the x-intercept is, it pops up for me, 4, 0. I don't have to do anything special, okay? So that's my x-intercept. So let's write that down. Our x-intercept is, let's use green, 4, 0. And remember, no matter where you are, if you have an x-intercept, the x value always comes first, and the y value is always going to be 0. A y-intercept is always going to have an x value of 0, and then, of course, you'll put your y value in the y spot. Now, there's one other vocabulary word you might need to know. For y-intercept, it's also sometimes referred to as the zero, a function's zero. And that just means what is the value of x when your height or your y value is equal to 0. And so essentially your x-intercept and your zeros are the same thing. And we would just say x equals 4 for this problem. All right, so that's how you can use the Desmos graphing calculator and a table of values to find the equation, the slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept or zeros.